I'm Helen from the Grow Beer project, and I'm going to be telling you today how to plant your hop, how to prepare the earth, and how to look after it once it's growing. So the first thing you need to do before you get your hop is think about where you're going to plant it. Now, hops are a pretty hardy plant. They'll grow in most places, but in order to get the best results, you're going to want somewhere with really good sunshine. So choose a south-facing spot. You'll also need to prepare your soil to make sure it's got good hydration and nutrition. So the first thing we're going to do, and I'm planting in a pot, but you can plant in your garden, is prepare your ground. So if you're using a pot, make sure you've drilled holes in the base, and then put in some debris to help with the drainage. Then add some gravel, also to help with drainage. A good amount of that, and then put in your compost. Now, of course, if you're planting in your garden, you won't need to do this. You'll just need to skip straight ahead to the next part. Choose a pot that will hold about 40 litres of compost, otherwise it won't give your plant room enough to grow. So, you've prepared your pot or your ground. And the next thing to do is get your rhizome planted up in it. Now this is the hop rhizome. As you can see, it's got these long tendrily things, and these are the roots. And then it's got these little sprouty things at the top, and these are the shoots. So what you want to do is, in the soil that you've prepared, make a hole that is long enough to comfortably hold these roots, and then put in any extra nutrients that you might want to. So I'm using well-rotted horse manure and some seaweed fertiliser here. So I'm putting that in the hole and then creating enough space around that. So I'm mixing that in with the soil, of course, to pop in the hop. Put the soil around it, top it up if you need to with a bit more compost. And then make sure you give it a really good water. So hops are quite a thirsty plant, especially in their first year, because they don't have their root systems yet, and you'll need to keep watering it. Keep it nice and hydrated, especially over the summer months when it's producing cones. After the first year, you won't need to water it as much if you've planted it in the ground, because the nice big root system will take care of that for you. Alright, so you've got your plant, which is nicely put in. You can put some mulch around it as well, which is recommended if you're putting in a plant because it helps the moisture stay in as well. And then leave it to grow. So the next stage is training the hop. Here's one I prepared earlier. This is about the length that you should be looking for when you start training, so around 30 centimetres plus. As you can see here, I've got 3 shoots, and I'm going to choose the strongest one to climb up the twine. Now you can get special things to put in the ground, hop pegs, but I've just used a tent peg here, and I've just tied it up to a bit of nail, but you can use a trellis or whatever you want. In your first year, you're probably going to get 2 or 3 shoots, but going on, if you get more than that, you'll have to trim them off. Just twist off any extra and let the strongest 2 or 3 grow. Give it some extra water during the season, and you're done. It'll climb itself all the way up that pole. If you're in the northern hemisphere, like we are in the UK, you'll want to train your hop round clockwise, but if you're in the southern hemisphere, do it the other way, because the hop follows the stem. And that's all you need to know. Get growing.